Welcome, welcome. So happy that you're here. I am Sheena Wyrick. I'm a pain intuitive, which means I will get pain in my body to give us messages as to what we need to work on. I will also feel your physical pain. So sometimes I'm working on someone, I'm like, oh, okay, wow, we've got like the shoulder blade, happening in the left side, and they're like, oh my gosh, that's exactly where my pain is. So that's always fun. Um, but before we begin, I love to just kind of take a moment, take a few nice deep cleansing breaths, get present in the moment. So join with me. I love to inhale through my nose for the count of two and exhale out of my mouth for the count of four. Inhale for two and exhale for four. One more. Inhale for two. Exhale for four. All right. I typically don't announce what I'm going to work on because sometimes it literally doesn't come to me until about 5 minutes before I start a session. If you know anything about human design, I'm a 5/1 splenic projector, which means I know in the moment. I can't really plan ahead and be like, oh, for the next 4 weeks, here's everything I'm doing. So today I'm so excited. We're working on releasing control issues. We're going to work through childhood, things that, maybe your parents or grandparents tried to control. Maybe, things through religious or work or school, such as like, uniforms or whatever. I just feel like this is a big, 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 big session. That I'm thrilled. So I'm so happy that you're all here. Again, please utilize the chat for those that are here live. I would love to have this be interactive. I'd love to know the thoughts that come up and what you're working through. So when you think about controlling, I want you to think back into your childhood in your life. What patterns of control have you seen? Where have you been controlled by others or tried? Maybe they tried to control you, but maybe you were a little rebellious. Um, but what comes to mind when you think of control? Go ahead and type in the chat. When you think back to, when you were younger, maybe your parents controlled like your schedule or the movies that you watched or the friends that you hung out with or what you wore, right? I mean, when you're a toddler, you really didn't have much much choice in what you were wearing. But what like family patterns of control have come up for you? I was pondering this morning of things that I've seen from my life or other people's. Um, my mother, bless her heart, would control my actions. She would clock the miles on my car to make sure I only went to school and to my job, and that was it. Um, I've got one of my son's friends works a job, and his parents are controlling all of his finances. He's not allowed to spend any money whatsoever that he earns because they want him to put all of that towards a church service mission. And I'm like, dude, you don't even get like 20 bucks allowance or something per check. He's like, nope, every single penny is taken from him. And I was like, ooh, ouch. All right, so we've got some comments coming in. Um, I felt if I controlled or held them in my okay, so let me try that again. I felt if I controlled or held them in, speaking about her emotions, then my parents wouldn't fight. Ooh, okay. Working on deep layers of people pleasing. Oh, that's a big trigger. Yeah. Had to prove I loved my family members by focusing on their own emotions and needs before mine to stay safe and connected. Oh, yeah. Think of the burden. Can you feel the weight? Can you feel the energy? Like I'm feeling it trapped in my throat. I'm feeling like a heartache. I'm feeling like a huge weight on my shoulders, the burden from carrying that. Ooh, goodness. All right, good job. We've got this morning my mom said something that caused me to feel ashamed about a choice I made. She's done this a lot through my life. Oh, yeah. Oh, breathe through it, my friends. If you're new to releasing energy and emotions, because emotions are just energy in motion, and if we trap them, they can't go anywhere. You could be crying, yawning, wiggling. You'll see me moving a lot. It's because different like muscles and things are like trying to work things out. There's lots of different ways. Burping, there's a lot that can happen, but that's okay. It's just your body kind of letting go of these things. So I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to imagine gathering up all the issues of control, um, all the emotions that came with that. What are you feeling right now when, we're talking about this? Like what triggers are coming up? I'm seeing a lot of like ancestral patterns of fear, right? They controlled with fear. Um, oh, we've got a lot of ancestral stuff coming up. Mm, goodness. Okay, so controlling through fear. There is people in our family lines who um almost got like a hit of like dopamine when they were controlling, right? It gave them this sense of like false sense of power, of control, of like dominating. So we've got those wonderful people in our family line who, were thrilled, got a thrill out of this. Oh goodness. Um, goodness. Whew, that's a lot. So you may know these people, right, in your family line, and you may not. But we're holding space for them to process and release um, things that are not serving them, things that they've held on to, right? They may have, passed many years ago and are working on things on the other side. Um, you know, think about how maybe they felt as they've been going through things in their life of recognizing, wow, that wasn't appropriate, or they feel ashamed for how they acted. Maybe there was like a mental disorder issue, or, maybe there were just things that, happened in their life that caused that reaction. So, thinking about how you have felt controlled in your life, what emotions come up for you? Sadness, sorrow, shock, fear, anger, oh, feeling criticized, belittled. I'm hearing unaware, as in, like unaware that that was even happening because that was just so normal. Like we didn't know any better. We didn't know that, other families didn't yell so much, or, parents didn't control the money or who they dated or how they dressed or anything like that. Um, it's interesting. I keep feeling like tugged between those who were controlling and then those who were controlled, right? Everyone's like trying to fight for my attention right now. We've got both sides. So let's keep working through our side. Um, there's also going to be issues where, we have felt controlled in our life. Um, maybe even it's been like by money, or we've been controlled by time, or the resources that we have, or the people in our life where we have felt controlled by outside sources. Um, so just ask your brain for all that evidence, and you're welcome to type in the chat things that are coming to mind of how you felt controlled or what situations that are triggering you right now. Um, I'm almost seeing some like side effects of when we were controlled, like such as stubbornness or being rebellious, right? Because there's only so much we can take before like, nope, not gonna deal with that. So honoring all of that, I'm seeing that image of like that like a controlling mother and like this little boy, and it's just like this tug of war, and she's trying to control him and he's just fighting back, right? It's like this rope between them, and they're just like, she's like, you're coming, he's like, no, I'm not. So it's like getting all those emotions stirred up inside of us to work through. um some of us have, it feels like, a distorted view of people that are older, or like authority figures or parents that could have been controlling, that's kind of been passed down, almost like that's been tainted for us. So take a deep breath. Honoring anything that wants to go. I like to tell people I have a giant recycle bin. You can give it to me, I'll recycle it. Or you can imagine like a giant bonfire. Maybe we're on a beach and there's this huge, huge bonfire, and we're just throwing everything that's no longer serving us in it. We're done. We can't live with carrying this anymore. Um, And even if I don't, specifically say the emotion you're feeling, you have agency. Put it in the fire, put it in the recycle bin, let it go. You get to choose. All right. All right. I feel like we need to go back to the ancestor side. Um, some of them didn't know better, right? Couldn't see any other way other than to control. That's just like a family pattern that's been passed down. They knew nothing else. They had no other ideas to even come to their mind that that didn't have to be that way. Um, so there's that false sense of control, power hungry, fed their like anger, fed the feeling of feeling justified in their actions. For some, it was like that empowerment, but obviously an unhealthy empowerment. Hmm. I want you to see almost like a new chapter, a new page being turned in your family line. That's in the past. We now have a blank page, and it's almost like we now write a story of what's possible. How can life be different if we no longer try to control? Maybe even giving our families evidence of other healthy families that have not felt the need to control, um, and have better relationships with their family members. And it's like, For some ancestors, it's like there's that shock of like, what? I didn't even know that was possible. There's some remorse, guilt, shame, blame, resentment, bitterness, anger, hard-hearted, stubborn, unwilling, um, the energy of unwilling to look at themselves. So we're holding space for anyone in your ancestral line who's dealt with this because it's been passed down to you through your epigenetics. And it may be playing out in your life, or it may be just kind of running in the background. Either way, we want to bring up those programs and rewrite them, tell a new story, change things. All right, take a deep breath for me. What are you noticing? What sensations are happening in your body? What feelings are coming up? Are there any feelings that are just like raw, like in your face, gotta deal with this, um, that you need help working through? I'd love to hear in the chat, anything that's stuck or anything that you want help processing. What are you feeling? Are you feeling a sense of like inner peace or calm, or maybe that the burden's been lifted a little bit? Maybe that pressure on the heart has lifted, that energy in the throat that felt trapped. Fear coming up of not knowing how to do it any other way. Okay, great awareness. Great awareness. Hmm. Um, so with that blank page and rewriting the story, that's why we're trying to give healthy examples of ways to do it other ways, right? Where there doesn't need to be controlling out of fear. What if there's just love and allowing people to use their agency to choose to, follow the rules or whatever, or be disobedient? It's almost like setting down that, like that need for control, that need to make people different, right? All we can do is be an example of what's possible to other people. My husband always says there's no good or bad examples of people. There's just things that he would want to do or not want to do in life. Um, okay, a few more comments coming in. Keep getting this insight of how I learned it wasn't safe to my own attention and focus on my own life and self-care. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's really big. Um, Not feeling safe. That's really big. So I want you to imagine like where's that stored in your body? How big is it? And can you breathe through it? Can you imagine it releasing? Um, is it safe to focus on, your life, your self-care, what you desire? We've also got, maybe patterns of arranged marriages in family, or everybody's a doctor, so everybody has to be a doctor, and yet you wanted to be a musician, or something where it's like we've gone outside of what the family wanted, and that can be a scary thing. But it's also your life, your path. you know what is it that you desire, and can you release the guilt for not desiring the same things maybe as your family? That's kind of all coming up. So thank you for that comment, because that just kind of opened up like another floodgate of more information coming through. All right. Confusion between control and boundaries. Um, Boundaries seem firm. Controlling seems domineering. Like the energy is different, right? Like, you think of, people who have controlled you in your life, whether it's, parents or, you're going to go here, you're going to do this, you're going to wear this, you're not going to date these people, you're going to have this kind of job, you're going to go to this school, whatever. It's like that is an expectation and you do not step out, right? A boundary is a firm place to protect you, right? And you can set boundaries in a loving way or a very controlling, domineering way, right? A boundary is just an expectation. And again, you can set that with different energy. And sometimes it's tuning into the energy of loving yourself enough to hold that standard, to hold that boundary for yourself. All right, I'm going to shake things up. As we release things, it's like new energy settling in our body. We're getting used to, this new vibration. Things have moved, maybe we took a big chunk out of the right side and things need to, shift and balance out again, energetically. So just kind of notice what you're feeling, settling into this energy. Mm. All right, take a deep breath. I'm seeing two different images. You can choose one or choose option three, which is create your own. I'm seeing the energy of these control patterns being passed down. And one image is very, very dry twigs that we're just snapping. We are just breaking these patterns of control. Another one is chains. Either we're getting the key to unlock them or, snapping the chains, or third option, whatever comes to your mind. But I want to hold space. I want you to, our spirit knows we may not know all the patterns of control um, that our family has passed down to us. But I want you to imagine just kind of pulling all the information up. It's like we're opening up a folder, right? A file folder. We have all this evidence, all of these programs that are no longer serving us, and we're either going to snap the twigs or break those chains. If a number comes to mind of like maybe you have 8, maybe you have 87 different patterns, that's okay. We're just going to work through them. I'm just going to hold space and yawn, but I want you to imagine breaking all those patterns, breaking all those chains or those twigs or whatever comes to your mind. So go ahead and get started on that now. Mm. Mm. Good, good, good. We have so much moving, friends. Okay. Another comment. I see a paper shredder and take all the files and shred them up. I love that. I'm a little girl stomping on all the twigs and it feels so freeing. I love that. I felt that expansion, that like freedom. Oh, so good. I like the twig imagery because I can burn them after they are broken. Yeah, love it. Oh, so good. Um, so take a deep breath. You just moved a ton of stuff. I don't know if you felt it, but I'm feeling it. I saw twigs and it was like snap, 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 but it was following my family line. So like something from my mom, and then it would trace back to like the originator, and then my dad's side, and we were just kind of like it was like a big family chart, right? A family history chart, pedigree chart. There we go. And it was just like going all over, just like snap, 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 snap back to the originators. And I just felt like this expansion feeling of like I kind of saw some of these people in chains as well, like shackles around like their ankles and wrists. And it's like they were in like this darkness, and it's like they've been set free. It's like all of a sudden they turned from like just dark shadow to a person with like flesh, and they were bright and vibrant. And so that was really beautiful. Another comment. Masking tape binding me. I started ripping it from the top, but Christ gave me scissors so I could cut through it faster. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I love all the images that have come through. That is so beautiful. Um, all right. So now we're gonna have a little party. I want you to imagine wherever your favorite place is that's warm in the world. I'm going to imagine this wonderful waterfall. We're all at this beautiful waterfall area. It's got like this little, pool area where we can swim, and we're just gonna kind of all go stand under the waterfall and let all of this rinse off of us. So there's no debris from the masking tape, there's no stickiness, any dirt from the twigs that got on our hands or anything, any cuts or anything that we may have experienced. We're just washing it all away and healing, just letting everything go. So join me at this little party for a second as we kind of flush everything out. Mm, it's fun, it's inviting. Maybe all your ancestors are joining. Maybe some are jumping off the waterfall into the water. There's so much happiness, so much freedom, so much expansion, like being present in this moment. Mm. Another comment, I saw a pile of rocks that were just sitting there, then taking one of the rocks and throwing it to break the glass box or frozen ice. That was that I was expected to just sit there with the rest of the rocks. Yeah, we gotta get rid of all of those. We don't need them. Um, Let's honor any of the heartache or anguish that we might have felt, not realizing how much control had been passed down through us. Maybe the shock, maybe the sadness, bitterness, grief, blaming. Let's just kind of imagine a giant, wind coming through and just kind of blowing that all away. We don't need that. What matters is that you're here now. You're doing the work. You're letting it go. Um, at the party, at this wonderful waterfall pool party that we just had, I almost saw me turning to my children because as we clear this through us, it clears through our posterity. And it's like I gave them all each a shiny key to like unlock this and let it go. Um, Now, granted, they came from me and my spouse, right? So anything I pass down, they can choose to release. And then obviously, if I did a session on their behalf, it would help clear anything that they might have got passed down from their dad. Um, ah, mm. How does the party feel? Does that feel like so expansive and freeing and refreshing? Did it feel exciting? Were you glad to be at the party? What came up for you? What feelings? And while you're typing into the chat, I feel like we need to work on a little bit of, control issues that we might have had, right? That we had passed down, that we've been passing down to our children or, our friendships, or, maybe you're trying to control your work environment or your home environment or a boyfriend or a spouse. or your pets. What control have you passed down? What control have you held on to? Oh, I'm hearing for some, it's just so ingrained that it's become our identity. So it's almost like taking off a mask. Um, what could be different if we let that mask go? Asking yourself, why do you feel the need to control others? Typically, it's like fear or like a safety thing. It can be like a domineering, like you get a hit of dopamine, like you feel powerful. Wow, so much moving. Oh, good, good, good. Whew. Mm. All right, let's see. Another comment. There's still fear the control will come back. Me controlling others because I've been controlled so much. So triggers can return, but it's a chance to look at the trigger. Ask yourself, why am I being triggered? Again, typically it's out of fear. Well, what's the worst that could happen? Ask yourself that question. Um, you know, for instance, we'll use an example of money. Maybe you control money, right? Your spouse can't spend it, your kids can't spend it, heck, you can't even spend it, right? That comes from scarcity and fear. So if you were to allow everybody to spend every dime you've ever made and you're down to zero, then what? Well, then you have to sell your house. Okay, well, then what? Then you have to maybe move in with family. But part of you is like, I'd rather die than do that, right? And so, okay, that's not an option. Okay, maybe you're living on the streets. Maybe you're begging for money. Maybe you have to go get a job. Asking yourself, answering those fear questions of what would happen. Well, then what? You'd still be with your family or your spouse or, whatever. You'd be closer because of the trials, you'd learn so much, you'd meet people, right? Like sometimes it's getting playful with the fear of like, that probably will never happen, but if it did, we would figure it out, right? So get playful with fear, but definitely look at your triggers. Why am I being triggered? Is it a scarcity thing, right? Because there's control over scarcity issues. Why is it there? Is it even yours? Can you release it? Can you let it go? So those are some good questions. It's just getting curious. Every time something triggers you, be like, all right, why? What triggered me? Did I feel not enough? Did I feel stupid? Did I feel unloved? Did I feel unheard? Did I feel not valued? Did I feel afraid? Right? Asking those questions and then answering them is where all the growth and healing comes from. We just have to be willing to do it. And so you can even set like a little alarm in your head to like have like a little bing light up of like, oh, I was just trying to control that situation. Okay, take a step back, take a breath. Why? Asking why. All right, some more comments. I'm a fixer equals control freak, and I'm so sad that I passed this to my beloved daughter. Okay, big hug to you. I understand. Again, I can feel everybody's heartache and frustrations and fears and self-judgment and all the things, right? Um, but we can break the cycle. You can be the example of, wow, I only knew one way, but after this session, I felt more empowered to change that. And I started working on it. And it's just like a toddler learning to walk. You might be clumsy in the beginning, or you might go back to that old habit of being a fixer, trying to control things. But what if you could just say every time you want to fix it, of like, okay, I'm not in control. Let's see what happens, right? Then, oh my gosh, things could happen of like other people stepping up and you're like, whoa, I didn't know they had it in them, right? Things like that. So just giving yourself that space to just take a step back, neutralize the situation, and just get curious. What am I feeling? Why am I trying to fix this? You know, and let your daughter see what's possible as you work through it. It's going to be magical. Another comment, still feeling some heartache. Okay. It was how I was loved and definitely still feeling linked to the identity of being the good girl. It's hard to let go of the illusions of love from my family. Can you accept that you are amazing and wonderful just as you are, regardless of your talents, your hair color, your eyes, any people pleasing, any good deeds and service you do for others? Can you believe you are just loved right here, right now? There's nothing you have to do or prove or be to earn that love. Mother Earth, God, Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother, Jesus, pure love. That's all there is. No conditions whatsoever. You don't have to be good, and that can be hard. That's another trigger coming up that Jesus loves me as much as, somebody who's an awful person making awful choices right now at this moment in their life. Doesn't mean they can't change, but we're both loved. Mm. Also asking yourself if you're holding on to heartache as a punishment, either to yourself for not measuring up to your own standards or of your parents. Again, giant recycle bin, giant fire, put anything you want in there. This is a container to hold space for you to process whatever you want to release right now. Another comment, I love that. Get playful with fear. Yes. Fear can be fun. It doesn't have to be so frightening. Um, I've learned it can be helpful to ask God if this is mine to take care of, and sometimes the answer is yes, and other times no. Also, never have to do anything without heaven's help. Absolutely. That's the only reason why this works, in my opinion. I have the pure desire to help you, and by the grace of God, we've got people filling in all the gaps, right? I don't have to be perfect. I just have to be willing to help you and show up, and I promise you all the gaps are being filled in by heavenly help in this session. My heavenly help, your heavenly help, unseen heavenly help. Some of us see them, some of us feel them, some of us sense them, some of us smell them. Some of my ancestors smell absolutely delightful. All right, so take a deep breath. Oh, my goodness. Oh, thank you. Yay, that broke through the heartache. Oh, I'm so happy for you. Oh, thank you for sharing that. Yes. Yes. Okay, so good. So good. See, sometimes it just takes focusing on one little thing, tuning in, giving options, giving ideas and thoughts, and then it's like, oh, I can let that go. Okay, we've got one more thing. Oh, throat chakra is coming up. Feeling lighter from the guilt of going back to control yesterday. Oh, good job. I kind of saw that of like some of us it's like we're willing to try and give up control, but it's like, but if that doesn't work out, I'm taking it right back. And so I was like, in my mind, I was like imagining us stretching out the time, right? Like, you know, not just give it a day, give it a week, give it a month. We don't ever want to take it back. We want to keep progressing. Okay, so we gotta work on the throat. I feel a lot of shame. Again, this is coming up from ancestors and even you. Um, Shame of things that we've said to hurt other people or to control other people. Maybe there's been yelling or belittling, verbal abuse. So I want you to imagine this dark energy in your throat. It's yucky, it's gooey, it's slimy, it's thick, it's heavy. And I want you to imagine diluting it. We're going to inhale light, healing, breaking it up, and exhaling it out. This is for your ancestors and for you. Any shame, guilt, anger, frustration, self-loathing, bitterness, blame, you know, criticizing yourself, for things that you've said. We're just going to gather it all up into that black ball of energy and we're going to work on breathing it out. Ready, go. Choosing to let it go, choosing to forgive yourself, choosing to forgive your ancestors, your parents. Mm. All right. One last deep breath. We're going to flush out all of our grounding systems. We're upgrading all of the energy, the new vibrations that we've felt, allowing this to be a new normal, getting curious, experimenting with it. What's possible if this were my new normal? Feeling this good, being less triggered. How would that feel? How would it feel to be safe inside my body, inside my heart, inside my mind? How would it feel to no longer need to control? Because in reality, the only thing we can control is our own thoughts and our own actions and our own feelings. That's the only thing that we need to worry about controlling. All right, this has been an amazing session. Thank you so, so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful day. Make sure you go into curiosity as to what is possible, what has changed. All right, we'll see you later.